Hello beautiful souls and welcome back to our channel. My name is Tanya Marcy and I'm a spiritual coach based in Waterford, Ireland, and I'm so excited to be talking to you today. And I also have a guest speaker with me today, my beautiful mother, or as you might know her as, Jer's Guidance. And I asked my mum to come on because, a lot of the time I will get people interested in my story, how it is I became the woman that I am today. And I always say I came from and I come from a really strong lineage of women, like a lineage of strong women, between my nanny and my mother especially. And if you think I'm interesting, just wait until you hear their stories and their strength and their courage to be compassionate. And so that's why I did ask my mum to come on to share her story. Because to me personally, she has been the best support, not just to me but to all my siblings. She really has devoted her life to us, and it's just really inspiring to see her, to now that we're all grown up, to really follow her heart, to be in service. And so on that note, we are going to be diving into what she does, which is tarot and oracle card readings. And so if you would like to just introduce yourself and say hi to all of our listeners.
Hi everyone. It's actually weird being here sitting with my daughter, but it was lovely to be asked to come here to do this today. Not everyone will know, but yes, I do read tarot cards and oracle cards, and I'm very grateful to have this gift. I feel honoured and blessed to be able to do it. And we just thought we'd come here today and just share a bit about it and see if my life's journey can help anyone else on their life's journey. And yeah, I'm just honoured.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad. Because let's be honest, I think for those that might be tuning in for the first time, or they're even just getting to know me, or they're getting to know you and your journey, they might assume that we've always been like this. As in always very open with our practices and knowledge and wanting to share that, which isn't the case.
Oh, it's quite the opposite, I suppose.
Yeah.
Going back to my early years, I always knew I was kind of different, if that makes sense. You just know within yourself. But it was different times, so like it wouldn't have been encouraged and you wouldn't have had the same support as now. I was quite shy, I suppose, and I kind of just kept it in a little box.
And it's really fair to say that's not long ago at all. Like, it's not long ago at all. Like
No.
40, 30, 40 years ago is all.
But how things have changed so much to when I was younger, and how society accepts people now. And I suppose too, now that I'm older, that I'm gone to the stage, I really don't care anymore what people think, say or do.
Yeah.
Because it's my journey, my path, and I've hit it for so long that it's lovely now just to be out there. Confidence has grown and I have the time, I suppose, to be doing it now. But it's just the reward then, even if reward mightn't be the right word, but how I can help people, how people trust in me and come to me for, and to see the difference, in their faces from when they came in to when they leave. And people are lovely, and I still have people reaching out to me that had maybe reading 6 months ago, and it just makes it so rewarding and worthwhile. And I just say to anyone that is in that situation or holding themselves back, to hell with it, put yourself out there and go for it, because it's the most beautiful feeling that you can feel.
I'd like to dig a little bit deeper as to when you're saying growing up wasn't as open. you know, like what was it like being a sensitive soul? And would you mind just kind of explaining sensitive soul, like how are you a sensitive soul, in what way? And then how it felt to be perhaps in a society and a community where you couldn't feel as though you could express these concerns and what you're picking up and so forth.
I suppose you'd often, when I was younger, you would sense, you would feel things, if that makes sense. And I just learned to bottle it up, you know. You might speak out and you would be laughed at. There's no point in saying, oh, that one is away with the fairies or Jesus.
And isn't it fair to say that it was very common that people were placed in homes then when they did step forward?
Of course they were, you know.
So there was quite literally the fear of God that way.
Oh, yeah, you just learn to bottle it, keep it in. You wouldn't speak up about it because you were laughed at, like, and even going back hundreds of years ago, look at the women, they were all called witches and burnt at the stakes, and it's now society are realising these people had wonderful gifts. They were healers, you know, but they were treated as if they were nuts and demons, quite the opposite, like, you know, because society couldn't understand. People couldn't understand that a person had this gift. People feared it rather than embracing it.
And where do you think that came from when you were growing up?
Where did I get my gifts?
Like the fear-based, I suppose.
Because you just knew, like, from society and how they would talk about it, you know, and okay, there used to be the real old gypsy women, okay, it's funny. There were certain old gypsy women, and I don't mean that.
No, I'm pretty sure.
But they would go around. Now, some of these women had a magnificent, oh my God, the gifts they had. And it's funny because they were rare. They were kind of accepted. But then what were you trying to be like them?
I getcha.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I shut it down. Over the years and I grown up then, kind of, I'd pick up a deck of cards. I've got the deck cards I have that I treasure and I still use. I have that from a very, very young age. But I always hid it.
They're tarot cards, are they?
Yeah, that I use now that I do my readings with. I have them for so many years. But they were hidden. I wouldn't have them out in the house either, you know, because you didn't want to bring attention, you know, because whether they're considered or they could be dangerous, you know, because people they just weren't educated and didn't understand it. But I'd have friends and they say, oh, do a card, and I used to kind of do it like that. And then as the years went on, I suppose you left school, you went into employment. You got employment, you got married. You got married, you had children, etc., etc. And I suppose life took over. That, as I said, I had shut it down and I had like turned off the tap on the top of my head not to allow this and just carried on with life. You know.
And how did you come across tarot and oracle card readings? And do you remember the first time hearing about it, seeing it, or going to someone? I'm really curious as to how you came across it in the first place.
In tarot, well, going back first, as I said, was the real gypsy ladies, as I call the older generation. And they might be going around the street and, you know, in those days they could knock at the door and say, can you fill me kettle with water? You know, and it's funny, right? And they used to have these baskets with them and kind of little trinkets, and you'd fill the kettle for them and they'd probably go down in the green, you know, ferry bank, and they'd be boiling the water or something to have their cup of tea, but they'd always give you a little gift, a little trinket as a thank you. And I remember ma'am, your nanny answering the door, and this lady, and now nanny filled the kettle fire, like, but I remember holding nanny's hand and she telling her a little story. Now, dad had passed at this stage, so I would have been 10, 11, but I remember hearing what she said to nanny, and like, this woman was
Bang on.
oh my God, it was unbelievable, you know. And I remember it kind of took nanny back a bit. But then again, like, that was the end of it. It wouldn't be spoken of, you know.
I never knew there was such a practice like that where they went around to the doors and like...
Yeah, but it's not that they were looking to read you. They'd be looking, would you have a piece of bread or something, you know. Because in those days they did travel, Tanya. They weren't on sites. They actually did travel around the country.
Yeah.
And they'd be looking for work. The men would be looking for work. And they'd just stop and ask, would you have... most times, will you just fill the kettle for me? You know, the old steel kettles, I don't know if you'd remember, that you put on a campfire. That was it, yeah.
And that's just like a core memory.
That always stuck with me, so it did. And then I suppose when it came to tarot, there is a friend of mine, and my God, she has a wonderful gift, okay? Can I mention her name?
Oh, absolutely.
And it's Mary Swaby.
Yeah.
Mary Swaby is one person in my life that she just has this gift. Yeah. I can't explain it, as a healer. And back then she used to kind of read the cards as well. And I remember her doing, even though I knew I had a gift and I used to be messing with it, but sometimes Mary would come in and actually do the cards for me.
Aww.
As a bit of help and guidance, you know. And then I had, over the years I met in later life, was a lovely man, Dave, God rest his soul. He passed away there a number of years back, but he had an amazing gift too. Like, he did cards, but he also was very in tuned, if that's the word. He could just sense and guide you as well, and he was
very intuitive.
Oh my God, unbelievable person. And as time went on, then I suppose it's only a couple of years back, a year and a half back really, someone said to me about, will you do me cards? Someone that remembered, you know, from going back. And I was saying, oh Jesus, I don't know, like.
Yeah.
But I got out my cards, you know.
And we're talking how many years now, the difference?
Oh my
between
goodness, probably 25, 30 years, like, you know. Because, I mean, my eldest son now is coming 32 this year. But I always kept the deck. And I just took him out, and I can't explain, and it was just like, yeah, you're home. This is it. What goes through you, you could just feel it. And that's it. Then I kind of did the reading, and then I started word of mouth again, and that's how it goes. And then this year I just said, to hell with it, let's put myself out there. Now, doing that, I have to say, was one of the biggest things I've ever done in my life.
Takes a lot of courage.
Was putting myself out there, because it came back to the childhood of being laughed at, being ridiculed, being whatever, you know. That feeling within myself all came back. But again, I said, to hell with it, here we go. That was the best thing I ever did. We talked about taking a leap of faith. That was mine. One of mine, I should say.
But it's very inspiring, because if you don't mind, I would just like to talk about what it was like when you were raising us. You know, like, you weren't doing it. And I think a lot of our listeners, and especially in the last while, it's like they're feeling stuck. Like, they know what they really want to do, but because they have family, or there's career, or there's studies, you know, they're just feeling really, really stuck. Like, what would you say to the people that are listening now, to them that are, you know, quite literally prioritising everyone and everything above themselves?
You see, in reality, unfortunately, that's what does happen, okay? Because of being through it, like, as you know, like, I'm bringing up my family since I was pregnant on ye by myself. And life does unfortunately take over, you know, because as a mother, you do put yourself in the background. The first priority is that your kids have food, your kids have a roof over their heads, the kids, we have the light and heat in the house, they have shows, they have food. Well, that's how I looked at it, you know what I mean? Ye were it, like, and affecting myself. I was happy, but I was still happy, like, because I knew ye had. Now, you didn't always have what you wanted, but you certainly had everything you needed. And I worked part-time, and just, I suppose, to answer your question is, don't give up on your dream.
Yeah.
The time will come for you to follow. The main thing is, don't give up on it. When as I say, when the timing is right, it'll just all fall into place and flow. And it did, like. When ye grew up, well, ye got to a lovely age, like. I always had a dream of being an accountant from a young and
Which I always remember.
And people look at me now and say I'm weird, but anything to do with maths and figures and problem solving within maths now and theories and all the stuff most people hate, I thrive on it. And it's something that always stuck with me. I wanted to be an accountant. And as you know, you were in 4th or 5th year? So you were at a lovely age. The 3 older ones all had their own places and were settled. And I had been applying for jobs and I wouldn't get them because everything now in employment has to be on paper. Experience don't count anymore. It's on paper. And I remember applying for a load of jobs and like that, couldn't prove it, even though I had 14, 15 years of experience of doing payroll and bookkeeping. Oh, what they kind of do, they would offer you an interview, but at the minute you go into the room, the questions they ask you, well, you hadn't to hope, like. You sense it, you know. But then I said, right, what am I going to do about this? Because I wasn't letting this lie, because this was something I really wanted to do. And I ended up going back to college. I was 49, was it?
Yeah.
And I went back to college and I did 2.5 years because COVID kicked in and whatever. And I achieved my diploma in accounting and business.
I'm just laughing.
She's grinning at me here now. Have I heck on my face or something?
I'm just laughing because what did we end up saying to you? Because once you started college, I swear it feels like you've been in college for how many years, because you kept going for one course after the other, which is fantastic. Like I'm just laughing because it brings up a funny memory of me and Lou just taking the mick out of you. Like,
that's not love, new, listeners. And that is nothing new.
And it's with love. And
I know.
You do.
Like
that, you know, because a lot of women your age, like I have so many women coming in and like that, they have dreams, but you know, they had to take a step back. Well, they didn't have to, but they devoted their life, which is very admirable. Like lately I found myself saying, like, you had to take a step back to raise us, when the truth is you actually didn't have to at all. Like, not every parent steps up in the way that a child would actually need them to, and that actually is the truth. You know, unfortunately there are parents out there that just don't put their children first, you know, and they would have, you know.
That's the individual person's choice.
I mean. So like, you didn't have to do anything, you chose to, and because of that's what makes you even more special, and our upbringing more special, because you really did choose to devote your life to us.
Yeah. Until
you, as you were saying there, the timing felt right to start looking back into what just fills your heart, which was numbers and getting into accounts and business, in which you did, and you got your diplomas, and you know, from then you have just been upgrading, and then you finally got a job which was security, you know, because
it pays off, you see, as I say, like, follow your dream. When I went for those interviews, it did open my eyes. That experience doesn't count anymore. Employers are just by the book, everything on paper. And if you haven't got it, unless you know the boss and whatever,
who you know.
Yeah. But you have to do it for you. If you want it, you will do it. Like, as I was saying, I was doing my course, but I had to do it in the night time. I couldn't go to college during the day as a full-time student to do it, because I still had a job to keep finances coming in. And nighttime studying, for anyone that has done it, knows that you have to do the same course as a day student, but they're not live. You get recorded lectures, so it's really up to you to sit down and do it.
Yeah.
No one can make you. If you want it, but you'll do it if you want to. And it really paid off. But not, I have to tell you something else now, because you laugh, but it's just to put it out there for the listeners. I was delighted with myself, right? I got my diploma, I graduated, I thought it was a bee's knees, and I applied for these jobs, and I said, I have it now, like. Most jobs in what are advertised for me is payroll and accounts.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm doing payroll since, 2006 or so, 2005. And I remember going for this interview, and I chuffed with myself because I had my qualification, I had my diploma in accounting and business. And then I went, and they started talking to me and said, yes, you're doing payroll, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yes, and have you the IPAS qualification? Well, talk about me jaw, my whole face, deflated. I'd say my chin hit the floor. And I knew there and then, that was it. You might as well walk back out the door.
With your dignity.
I thought about really being deflated. I said, I thought I had everything I needed. Well, it's just a life lesson.
It is.
Right. So what did I do? I had to go back to college for another 12 months to gain my IPAS qualification.
But Mom,
But it paid off, lads. And the moral of the story, if
did.
you want something to happen in your life, you have to get off your ass and make it happen. But I never forget that interview talking about someone sticking a pin in a balloon. That was me sitting on that chair. It brought me back down to earth. It's funny, but it's the truth. Like, oh my goodness, yeah.
But it is.
I actually cried thinking of that. It's so funny.
But it is definitely fair to say, like, that's literally what you embedded in all of us. Firstly, you actually couldn't do any of it for us, in the sense of, if we wanted, because when you're a teenager, what you care about is like the latest phone, or just, you know, something like that. Okay, well, where's your allowance, or get a job? And you know, it was just, there was just never anything handed to us, because A, you actually couldn't, but B, you know, wouldn't have taught us anything if you did.
Exactly.
You know, and when I shared that I've been doing this line of work since I'm 15, 16, you know, you get people going, what, really, what? Because, well, I tend to say, well, I had to if I wanted to get to where I am today, and where I continue to go in this life journey and helping others and being in service. And you were saying there a few minutes ago that the reality of it, you know, and I think with how you and I are now helping people, the way that you're doing it through tarot and oracle, and I'm doing it through the yoga and the Reiki and so forth, is it can come across very fluffy, and it can come across like we're skipping through daisy fields, you know, which that euphoria follows, but you have to put the work in for it to happen. It doesn't just happen.
It doesn't land on your lap.
It doesn't,
No,
and I think it's
no.
just highlighting that to those that are looking to step into their power, to make their dreams happen, that like there is going to be hard work that has to happen in order for
and there
your
is
dreams
ways,
to manifest.
There is ways around things, because I know going back years ago, like the financial side of things would have hindered me, you know. But if you start looking into things of what you want to do. Just doing the research. As I say to people, it's funny how your angels and the universe works. That if you're kind of putting some of the work in, it's then they step in and kind of help you on that journey, if that makes sense. But they're not going to do it for you either. And I suppose I was very, very lucky at the time that when I did start looking into going back to college and whatever, the government at that time actually opened up a lot of courses free, because there were so much unemployment, companies were closing down, people had to be retrained, people didn't have the money to do it. And the government happened to open up this thing that gave certain courses free for people to be retrained. And I said, hallelujah, praise the Lord, there's my sign. And that's how I got my qualifications. I had to do it at home in the night time, but it cost me nothing. It cost me my time, my effort, my blood, sweat, tears, whatever. But financially, it cost me nothing. I took advantage of that scheme.
Oh, what was sent your way, quite literally.
Exactly, because I started rolling the ball first, Tanya.
Yeah.
You know, I made the effort to look into, I didn't give up on my dream. I did the research. I knew how much it was going to cost, how many things, how many years it was going to take, and blah, blah, etc., etc. And then suddenly this comes in. It's funny how things just line up. And there's no such thing as coincidence. Things happened for a reason at the right time, but it has to come from within you first. That drive, that has to be there. You have to want it. You have to start the ball rolling, and then that's how the universe and your angels work with you.
And throughout those times of struggle, because of course it was not easy raising the 5 of us by yourself, you know, having to work as well, and you know, you're just doing your best to keep us on the right path, or guide us on our right path, and support us individually, and so forth, so forth. You were saying that you closed off the tap, as in, you know, the divine energy, essentially. Yes, you still carried great faith in the universe and the guidance. Would that be fair to say?
At times,
Yeah.
when, Jesus, I'm far from perfect. Like, I went through a stage in life that, whether it's because I turned off that deliberately, that I did lose my way for a while, you know. I was rare knee. I was holding down a job. But there's an awful lot of pressure comes with it that you don't tell your kids about, and you try and withhold things. Excuse me, I suppose I was in relationships that I knew damn well I shouldn't have been in. Why did I stay there? Whether it was for just company or what it was, and for a while, as you know, like alcohol. You know, I used to sit down in the nights and say, right, my day is over. This was my logical way of thinking of it, at the time. Oh my God, everything I got through today. And I'd sit down and have a drink. That was my way of unwinding. That was my way of relaxing. I knew I'd go to bed and go to sleep. But you know what? Then that one drink is not enough. And after a while, you need the 2 drinks. And then the 2 drinks isn't enough. And you get into that roller coaster. And I put my hands up. I was on that roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you just... It is what's the word? The hamster wheel. You're going round and round. And you know this is not good for you. You know you're on the wrong path. Why you're on it, I can't explain it. Right? But you know what? You do get that light bulb moment. And I don't know if you ever remember I always said to ye, if if you're having drinks like or whatever, or you're going down that path, the day you wake up and feel you need a drink in the morning before you can function, that's the day you sit down, you have a chat with yourself. And I hit that fucking spot. So I did, and I will hold my hands up to that. Like, am I proud of that time? No. Am I ashamed, embarrassed? Of course. But you know what? It's also a time you have to look on the other side of that too and say, well, do you know what? You got that light bulb moment. You learned from it. And I did have that chat with myself, and I did get myself out of it, and I did get myself out of those relationships and off that hamster wheel. And now I look back, and it really was a learning curve for me, because I was building up emotions and everything else and stress, and instead of verbalizing them and dealing with them, the alcohol was suppressing them. So, and I will say to people, don't be ashamed of your past. None of us can change or anything of our past, but the whole idea is that you learn from it and you wonder why you were in that state, and just delve into it. And and the release of all that then is, oh my God, the overpowering feeling of that. And and be proud of yourself then that you got through it and you learned that lesson, and you pick yourself up and you carry on. Yeah,
because no one is perfect. No one gets out of the human experience.
And that's what I'm saying, don't beat yourself up over it. You can't change it. It was something you did, but the whole idea of it then is to learn from it. And me even speaking now, someone might be in that hamster wheel at this moment in time, and just know that, look, you can get yourself out of the hamster wheel. But again, this all has to come from yourself. You have to want to.
And I have to ask then, so leading into the tarot and oracle card readings then, why cards? Why not Reiki or yoga? Just different modalities. What is it about cards?
Oh God.
Jer's guidance.
Jer's guidance. Do you know what? When you pick up your deck, it's the feeling that goes through you. It's wonderful. The different oracle cards, people have come for a reading or whatever, and they've been looking, and I was saying, for people that don't understand oracle cards, like, there's so many different types. You have the angel numbers, okay? You can get guardian angel oracle cards, which are a direct message from your guardian angel, okay? Everyone has a spirit animal. There's spirit animal oracle cards.
Excuse me.
There's a lovely deck I have at the moment, and it's called the Soul's Journey. And I think they're one of the most beautiful decks I have. And how you explain it is, when I use them, it's a message from yourself to yourself.
Yes.
Because we all know we don't always listen to ourselves. Your gut and your head, your whatever is telling you one thing, go right, and we go friggin' left. But this deck is actually a message from your own soul that you're not listening to yourself.
I love that.
Trying to give you that little bit of guidance, and to see people's faces at times, like it just makes them think again, because they knew this, but you're just not listening to it, you're ignoring it, And then you have there's just so many it's just fascinating, honest to God, when you pick up the deck and people look at me like, how can that deck of cards tell me what you just told me? Each card have a message. Now I could put out 3 cards here between us, Tanya, right? And say the middle card, we'll just pick it, is the Ace of Cups. Mm-hmm. And if you could read tarot, right? And I'll give you your message. And someone else will come in here and I'll get a card, and they'll get the Ace of Cups, and they'll get another card. But they'll get a totally different message. And you'll ask me why. Because it all depends on the card that comes out before it and after it. Even though the middle card was the very same. You're not just reading one card. It's a story. They're all connected.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
And is it fair to say that cards like tarot and oracle, they are essentially tools to just help direct the message that you're here to channel and give to the person that's in front of you?
I'm looking at those cards and I'm just able to interpret them. But like you just said there are times I can feel a message coming through. Can be only words, okay? And I'll say them out. Why am I saying it? I don't know, but I feel I have to say it. And I'll say to the person, that makes sense to you. And they go, oh, yeah. You know, I was talking to a lady, I'm not mentioning any names or anything, but I had a lovely lady come into me there a while back, and we were just talking, and for whatever reason I said to her, look, you're just going to have to take a leap of faith. Just like do a parachute jump. You know. And she just looked at me, and I could see the look in her face. She said, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that. And I was saying, why? And she said, myself and my friend were sitting down last night and we're looking into doing
the parachute jump or
parachute jump.
Yeah.
Now why I said that,
yeah.
Why I said that, that's the word. But why I said it, I know, I was just guided to say it. You know, examples come into my, and just, I have to trust and just go with it.
And so I'm coming in then, say, as a client to you. Generally, people come in because they are looking to seek an answer for something that they're either pondering about, or they're looking for a direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is that fair to say when someone comes in for a reading, it's because they actually do have a reason for going in. They want answers for a really important decision, or they're looking for a direction, and the cards help to provide that.
When people come in to me, I say, please have an open mind. Yes, people come in and they want just a direct answer to a direct thing that's on their mind. I tell them, you're not necessarily going to hear what you want to hear. You're going to hear what you need to hear. That's the difference.
Yeah.
You're here and you're going to get the message that you need to hear at this moment in time. Now, I know I have people that have left my house and walked out my door and probably said, what a heap of dicky.
Yeah.
Right? But you know what? I did a reading for another lady going back January or February this year. And I knew by her, people's whole demeanour changes. And you know they're disappointed because that's not what they came to hear.
Yes.
And that makes sense. And that's understandable, right? But they got the message they need to hear, whether they realise it or not at that moment in time. Okay? But this girl left anyway, and I knew her whole demeanour changed and she left, right? And I said, bless, look, she got the guidance, and, you know. About 5 months later, I got a message out of the blue from this girl, and it always stuck with me because it was so nice for her, and she was just so honest, right? And she reached out and she said, she just wanted to let me know that the reading was only making sense to her now. And she actually apologised to me because she openly said, I left her house and said, what a waste of money. I was so disappointed, she said, and I laughed and I said it to her, like we communicated then, and I was saying, I felt it, you know, that night, but I knew.
Yeah.
But she was telling me it was only now that reading had hit home and was making total sense to her. And now I'm not saying she wasn't hurting or anything like that, you know, bless her. But she did say to me that only for the reading, she don't think she would have handled the situation as well as she did.
She was more prepared.
Yeah. And she was just so thankful and so apologetic. But she was so honest. She had the guts, like, to say, Chair, I left your house thinking what a heap of shit, like, and whatever, you know. And bless her, like, and she does contact me every now and again still, like, because... But she was so thankful, and it always stuck in my head what she said. If she hadn't had the reading, she don't think she would have handled the situation as well as she did. Because I'm not saying she wasn't hurting, and I'm not saying things weren't great at the time, but she kind of knew the road ahead of her was still, you know, she had gotten the guidance of how to go down that road.
Yes.
To keep moving forward.
Yes.
You know. And I was only talking to her not so long ago, and she's in a great place now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's times like that then. And fair play to her for reaching out. Like, that took a lot of guts for her to come back. And I admire her honesty. Yeah. And we laugh about it, you know. But it was lovely to hear. And that's why when people come in, I know they can be disappointed. They're not getting the answers. But please, I just try to tell them, this is the message you need to hear now.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, this is what your angels, this is what the universe.
So are the cards acting very much as like a direct, like how I would explain cards and like the tarot and oracle cards, you know, even just for my own comprehension, is that it's a direct dialogue between divine and us. And when I say us, like in the human, because for as long as we're human, you know, we are of course limited by our five senses. You know, we touch, we taste, we hear, we see, so forth, that we can very easily become blocked from these senses, and then we become unaware of our energetic awareness and our energetic body, and actually how incredibly intuitive we are. That by using cards kind of helps to get rid of that confusion, that it's allowing the energy to just flow a lot easier, because you're now seeing what it is, as you just said, you need to hear the guidance and the messages as such. And
when I pick up my cards, anyone that has been for a reading knows, okay, I shuffle them away. But I actually don't pull cards. Okay, I have a way of, I don't know whether you say dealing or another shuffle, yeah. And I actually don't pull cards. It's what falls out. I leave the cards fall out.
Yeah.
And it's those cards then that tells you your story, what you need to hear, with the guidance too.
Yeah.
And the words that come out of my mouth, I suppose.
And it's fair to say, like, since the minute you really did just put yourself out there, you picked up fast. Jerry's guidance really, really took off.
Oh my goodness. I had to be amazed at times, you know, like, because it was always word of mouth, and then once I put myself out there, and again, it's people that come for a reading and they go back and they're talking to their friends, you know, and just even sharing my page, and I just feel so honoured and blessed and overwhelmed at times, you know. But,
and do you only do one-on-ones? Or how do you like to operate?
Yeah, I have been asked many times when I go to a house, you know, people might be having a bit of a party and a few girls together, you know, on a Friday night, and will I do that? And I'll be honest, I don't, okay? And I'll tell you why. Even if someone comes to my house and they could have a friend with them, I will say to their friend will have to sit in the kitchen. And the reason why is because you could come into the room for the reading. It's all to do with connecting energies, okay? I can start picking up on your friend's energy. Could come across more powerful. And they're going to get the reading that you came for.
Yeah.
So I always like one-to-one now, and that's in person. But I also do virtual, which is live readings, which I can do over Messenger or WhatsApp. And I have done it. I mean, I've done readings across the world at this stage, as far as Canada and Australia and over in the United Kingdom. It's not just around Ireland and whatever. I have blessed enough that I've done readings across the world. But when someone is getting a virtual, I will also say to them as well, look, are you in a room by yourself? And they might look at me and I say, no, it's not that we've anything to hide. It's because I don't want the energies to get confused.
Yes.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
absolutely.
And that's why I do. Yeah, but yes, you can come in person for your reading, or I do have the option of doing the virtual. And it works out just as well because I have it set up and people can actually, they see the whole reading.
Yes.
They see, like, the cards are not pre-done. No, they still see it as if they were sitting in the room with me.
Yes. Which is lovely.
It
gives
is.
it that personal touch. And it's very honest too. Which is, I suppose, what connects us all as human is our honesty, our vulnerability, and just honest work essentially.
Well, it's nice for them to see the process, and I'll hold up each individual card to them then, and then when I go on to the oracle cards, if people are one-to-one with me, I'll say, do you want to take a picture of them, and you can bring it away and you can look back on these, little messages and read them later, or if you ever feel the need. And the same for the virtual. I will, when I finish the reading, I take the pictures and then I'll send them on to them, and people are just so grateful because if you're having a bad day, you can go back and have a look at these and say, yeah, okay, I remember this now.
Yeah.
People that come for in-person readings, I say to them, do you want to record it? Everyone has voice recorder on their phones nowadays.
Yeah.
And why I do that as well is because sometimes when you're getting a reading, your head is, you're not, you're waiting to hear what's been said. You don't always hear it.
You mightn't necessarily be as present, yes.
Does that make sense? At least if you've recorded, when you go home, whether it's that night or the next day and you have a few minutes, you will sit down and listen to it again. You say, oh God, I remember, I forgot you said that. And but they will have it, whether they want to listen back to it in 2 weeks' time, 6 months' time, or even this time next year.
Yeah.
And that's why I do it.
And where's Jer's guidance going? Any hopes for the future? Any?
At this moment in time, well, I'm working on a few things now. I am quite busy now with readings. And December, I will finish up readings maybe around the 9th, 10th December, that time. And take time for Christmas, but there is a few things I want to work on as well that I have in my head here at the moment.
In the background
for next year, and but I want to take that time for Christmas. I really, if I'm doing readings, everyone knows it's Monday to Friday. I will not do readings Saturday or Sunday. That is my time to catch up with my children and my grandchildren, and I say, no, you work Monday to Friday, and I just keep that time for myself and my family and my grandchildren. And again, like I said, at Christmas I will finish up around the 10th, but I do have things in the pipeline that I don't want to really say just yet, but a few things, so watch the space come the end of December.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
So exciting. And to just finish off then our conversation, is there anything else that you would like to share to our listeners, or just literally anything at all?
If you have your dreams and your ambitions and whatever, just don't give up on them. The time will come. Trust and believe in yourself and be happy, and as I said, let the past, none of us can change the past. And I suppose how I will finish up is on a little saying that I heard many years ago, and it always stuck with me, right? And for people to really think about this. Yesterday is history. Today is today, and tomorrow is a mystery.
Yes.
Isn't that lovely? So stay present, enjoy. Things get tough, you're tougher, you'll get through it, and just follow your dream, follow your heart, and go for it, lads. And fuck everyone else. This is your life and your path, and go for it, no matter what age you are.
I'm sure our listeners can understand why we are the way that we are. And when I say we, Chris, Shane, Emer, Lou and I, why we're also ambitious in our own ways, So, no, honestly, I'm really glad that you did.
I really
want to have
enjoyed
the chat
this
with
now.
me today. It's really fun to do these things and to connect in this way too. And so thank you.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
And to all of our amazing listeners, if there's anything that you'd like to share in the comments, please do. You can find Jer's Guidance on Facebook and Instagram if you'd like to book in for a reading, perhaps in person or virtual, or if you have any questions. I know, ma'am, you won't mind answering them. So you
No,
won't.
not at all.
And yeah, we hope that you found this conversation today inspiring and that you learned something as well. And we look forward to connecting with you again in the future. I'm sending you my love always.